I remember that moment vividly. I was leaning on the bar, drink in hand, adrenaline pumping. She stood just a few feet away, laughing with her friends, completely unaware of the storm in my chest. My mind was racing, flooded with all the things I shouldn't say. I wasn't the tallest guy, the most charming, or the one with the best smile. I was just, ordinary. But still, I wanted her to see me. I took a deep breath, stepped forward, and said something I knew I shouldn't have. She turned, gave a polite smile, and turned back around. In a matter of seconds, my confidence dissolved. And right then, something inside me shattered. But also, something awakened, a silent rage at not understanding the rules of the game. That's when I stumbled into a world most men don't even know exists, the hidden realm of structured attraction. And what I found there wasn't just lines and gimmicks. It was a mirror. A brutal one. It showed me how deeply I had been conditioned to believe that sincerity alone would win hearts. That being real was irresistible. That if I just stayed true to myself, doors would open, love would arrive, and women would choose me. But reality is far from a romantic fantasy. Women, incredible, intuitive, emotional beings, they play the game too. With filters, boundaries, ingrained expectations. And most men, they've never been taught the language that truly reaches them. This isn't about cheap tricks. This is about decoding the dynamic you've never been told about. If you've ever been ignored, dismissed, or forgotten within minutes of an approach, stay with me. Because by the end, you'll know exactly how she actually wants you to speak to her, and why no one had the guts to teach you this before. You were told to be yourself. They said it with confidence, as if it was the secret to connection, success, love. But they never told you the most painful truth. Being yourself only works when that self is already refined. When that self radiates control, power, presence. The hard truth. Most of us aren't born that way. We carry emotional scars. We grow up learning to please, to behave, to be nice boys, believing that kindness equals attraction. But in the realm of seduction, this doesn't work. In fact, it makes you invisible. When you walk up to her with nothing but sincerity, you're not broadcasting authenticity. You're broadcasting insecurity, and she picks up on it. In your slouched shoulders. In your uncertain voice. In how desperately you seek validation with every word. It's not about what you say. It's about the energy behind it. When you enter her space asking for permission to exist, she doesn't feel drawn to you, she feels sorry for you. Or worse, indifferent. Social dynamics are brutal because they operate through codes, unspoken, unteachable codes. You don't learn them in school. You learn them by bleeding. And one of the biggest lies is that authenticity equals attractiveness. It doesn't. Authenticity is noble. But attraction? That's about tension, polarity, intrigue. A man who bears his soul from the first moment doesn't look brave, he looks unstable. Seduction requires measured vulnerability, not emotional exposure. Nietzsche once said, "Become who you are." That word, become, implies transformation. Before you can be yourself, you have to build a version of yourself that's worth being. You have to shed the approval-seeking boy and become the man who can walk into rejection and not flinch, because rejection no longer defines his worth. That's when the game shifts. When you speak to her, you're not pleading for attention, you're offering a moment. And here's the paradox, the man who doesn't chase approval is the one who draws it in. But that nonchalance isn't arrogance. It's rootedness. It's the calm that comes when your self-worth is internal, untouchable. From that place, your voice slows, your presence deepens, your body opens. You project value before you say a single word. And ironically, that's when you become truly authentic, because that version of you isn't fractured. It's whole. Most never reach this point. It's easier to stay comfortable in a soft identity, to blame women or society or other men. But the real battle begins when you admit that, being yourself, has held you back. Because that self was designed to avoid conflict, seek approval, and follow scripts. So no, don't be yourself, be your refined self. Your forged, tested, intentional self. The one that moves with certainty, not fear. Because when you command your presence, you earn the right to be. And only then does she really want to listen. Because what captures her isn't your truth, it's your command over that truth. You think you've got time. That you can charm her gradually, let her see your depth. But her judgment is made in seconds. Sometimes less. Research from Princeton shows we form opinions on trust and competence in under a tenth of a second. Now imagine a woman, socially and biologically trained to detect weakness or danger. She senses everything the moment you enter the room. Your stance, your energy, your hesitation. Before you say hi, she's already decided. That's why so many fail before they even start. Their words say, hello, but their posture screams, please like me. Now compare that to a man who walks into the room like he owns the air around him. Shoulders back, chin steady, steps firm. He doesn't scan nervously, he chooses where to look. When he speaks, he doesn't explain. He intrigues. He says things like, you look like trouble, the good kind or the dangerous kind. Or, I wasn't sure if saying hi was a good idea, I still haven't decided. Feel the difference? It's not about being arrogant or funny. It's about communicating with presence and intention. Your words are the surface. What seduces is the subtext. This man knows who he is. And more importantly, he knows what she'll respond to. That's where the pre-frame comes in, the moment before the moment. Your first impression is built before your first words. If you hesitate, if your energy feels off, she senses it instantly. The pre-frame is your silent signature. It sets the stage, for success or rejection. So how do you create a pre-frame that attracts? Flip the script. Don't approach to impress, approach to observe. You're not auditioning. You're evaluating. You're not hoping she'll like you, you're deciding if she deserves your presence. That subtle switch lights up what I call the selective archetype. And women, because of thousands of years of evolutionary psychology, are powerfully drawn to it. You don't need to be a model. You just need to own your space. Because in the end, she won't remember what you said. She'll remember how she felt around you. If she felt intrigued, challenged, unsettled in a way that pulled her in. That's the spark. Where there's curiosity, there's focus. And focus is the gateway to attraction. But be warned, attention without control is chaos. Some men spark interest but lose themselves. They try too hard. They overplay. Or they go cold too quickly. What women want is not a showman. They want a director, someone who commands the moment without being consumed by it. So don't underestimate those first 10 seconds. They aren't the start, they're the audition. And if you don't walk in with intention, she's already decided the movie won't include you. There's always an invisible tension when a man approaches a woman. And often, it's not even about him, it's about what came before him. Her experiences, her fears, her judgments. The social pressure. The shame. The wounds. The fear of opening up to someone who won't know what to do with her heart. This is the minefield you step into, even if you don't see it. And most men, they ignore it. And by ignoring it, they make it worse. Every awkward phrase, every attempt to impress, every anxious compliment pushes her defenses up. What you interpret as shyness might be survival. It's not ego, it's protection. It's ancestral memory. She doesn't know if she can trust you, and you haven't given her a reason to yet. This is where most guys lose. They try to force connection where resistance still exists. And by doing so, they prove her right. She thinks, just another one who only sees the surface. And then she emotionally retreats. Politely. Silently. But completely. The answer isn't retreat. It's anticipation. What I call narrative prevention. You neutralize her fear before it ever activates. With words that show awareness without submission. For example, relax, I'm not the guy who thinks a compliment equals a ticket. Or, if I step out of line, say so. But I have a feeling we're going to have fun. It's light. Intentional. And most of all, freeing. She realizes you can play without pressure. That you're in control, not to dominate, but to lead. That's the sweet spot. I call it the safe tension zone. Where she feels safe, but still stimulated. And here's where the other extreme fails. Some men are so afraid of offending that they come off forgettable. You can't bore her into liking you. She needs to feel that you know where the line is, and that you're confident dancing near it. That's where true maturity lies. You're not shaken by her resistance. You welcome it, as a test to prove your worth. You don't chase. You calibrate. You interpret. Because behind that armor is a wild, unexplored world. One that only the right man is allowed into. When you strike that balance, something shifts. She isn't just listening, she's feeling. Her posture loosens. Her pupils expand. Her smile carries surrender. Because you weren't just another guy. You were a new experience. And that's what women crave, not seduction, but understanding. They don't fear being desired. They fear being misread, mishandled. But when you show her that you can both feel her and still spark her desire, she sees what few men show, strength and sensitivity in equal measure. And that's what truly captivates. Not looks. Not lines. But a man who carries depth, intention, and empathy. When you embody that, you'll never have to ask for her attention again. She'll give it to you willingly, because in a world full of noise, you'll be the rare silence that made her feel something real.